Hello, Ozan. Welcome to the show, where we're going to be talking about the re-designation of Hagia Sophia from a museum into a mosque. Thank you very much for having the time to speak with me. My name is Hekmat Abukader. I study international relations and I focus on the Middle East, and I run news by people that I know or I meet and get their take. So, Ozan, you were born in Turkey, you lived in Ankara, and then you studied in Istanbul, and now you're studying in France. Tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll dive into our topic for today.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Hikmet, for this very important subject for my country and also for the whole world, actually. Yeah, I graduated last year from my bachelor's degree with in political science and communications in Galatasaray University in Istanbul, in Turkey. And this year I came here into Lyon, to ENS de Lyon. It's basically a university focused on research in social sciences. At least I am specializing in Middle Eastern studies.
Yeah, very good. And now, Ozan, you've done some research about this specific topic, and you've posted some publications on the redesignation of Hagia Sophia, which, for context, it happened yesterday. So it's been a long-going debate in Turkey and with the AKP party of Erdogan to redesignate the museum into a mosque. But yesterday, it finally actually happened. So what can you tell us to give us some idea? Maybe give us a timeline of the transition. Give us some history to educate us about the situation with Hagia Sophia.
Sure. As a matter of fact, the story has begun in like 1951. Like it's not a story which started under the rule of AKP at the first time. So let's go even back a little. More, under like when Hagia Sophia was a building which has been built in 532 in Byzantine Empire by the Emperor Justinianus, and it was an Orthodox church then, Byzantine Orthodox Church, until 1453, till the Ottomans took the city of Istanbul from the Byzantine Empire. It was a church, and then it has been converted to a mosque by Fatih the Conqueror, the Fatih II of the Ottoman Empire. So this Sultan was known by his intellectual side, actually, and also his he wanted to keep the multicultural structure of the city of Istanbul, actually. So that's why, actually, as a sign of this, he also kept the elements in this church, in this building, related to Christianity. So when you go, it's inside the Hagia Sophia today,
Mm-hmm.
you can see stuff related to Christianity. Yeah, as you can see in the pictures, with also you can see the Mary mosaics, and so yeah, these all these things were kept, but it was used as a mosque till 1934 actually. So in 1923, after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, a secular republic was founded in Turkey by Mustafa Kemal Ataturk in 1923. And 11 years later, the ministers and under the presidency of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk took a decision to transform the mosque, the place which has been used as a church first and mosque, Hagia Sophia, to transform it into a museum, which would represent actually both two things. First of all, the new secular structure of Turkish Republic, because this way Turkey was getting away from this mentality of conquisition, and it was showing to the world and to its all citizens that it had an equal distance to all citizens from different confessions, from different beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And also another thing was that it was a symbol of two cultures, actually, in a way. It was a Turkish property, like not a property, but it was found in Turkish territories, of course, which is something that I think most Turks are proud. But also, it was a symbol of these two cultures all together, both Muslim and Orthodox, Turkish and Byzantine. So yeah, it was a very important place, not only for Turks, but also for the rest of the Orthodox world, for the Orthodox world, and for the rest of the whole world, actually. In 1985, as another status has been given to Saint Sophie, to Hagia Sophia, as we call it in Turkish, um, by UNESCO. It has been classified as a cultural heritage, a world heritage. And yeah, the stuff, this movement to transform it back to a church, back to a mosque, started in 81 when a right wing political party came to power for the first time in Turkish history. And this party, as many of the right wing parties in Turkey, had many affiliation with uh, Islamist movements, and also was using a very effectively this Islamist discourse
Mhm.
by especially its president Adnan Menderes. Anyway, so this has been going on and off. This debate has started in 50s, and there have been several cases,
Yeah.
uh, but the how to say the
Yeah, to interrupt you a little bit, Ozan, I know that
yeah,
there's
go
been
ahead.
several cases. In 2005, the case was raised to Erdogan, and he just shooed it away to the side. He was not interested. In 2013, again, the issue was raised, but then Erdogan responded. If he noticed that there were not enough mosques for the Muslims to pray in, he would convert it into a mosque. But that was obviously not the case, because in Istanbul alone, there's 3,000 mosques. So now, why now? That's the question I wanna try and gauge from you. Why now, 2020, in this tumultuous time for Turkey? Is it because of waning support that Erdogan is feeling from Turkish nationals? Is it because of the economic disparity that is hitting Turkey due to COVID-19? What is going on? Why this month of this year?
Well, that is a very important question, and that is the question that should be asked, I think, because right now the crisis, both political and economic crisis in the economy, is getting deeper each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
The inflation rates are reaching the highest numbers ever in the Turkish history, and people is getting more poorer every day. So in this context, actually, also in the last, as we all saw in the last municipality elections, Erdogan and especially its party, maybe Erdogan's support is not diminishing in a that clear way yet, but at least its party is losing its support among the society. That's a fact. So in such a context, by addressing people's emotional, like religious and Ottomanist feelings, let's say, Erdogan is trying to consolidate again this power that he's losing among the society. That's how I see it. And also another important reason is to block that it is being these other real problems of Turkey to be discussed, you know. So because since you put a whole subject of Hagia Sophia
Mm-hmm.
in the public agenda, people all like the newspapers and the media starts to talk about this and not about the real crises like economic crisis and all the other like foreign crisis and foreign policy. We also have issues still going on in Syria, in Libya, and yeah, but more importantly, the economy influences directly the people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And with this subject, Erdogan, I think the President Erdogan believes that he can grab once again the support that he's maybe losing.
So
But yeah,
saying,
we'll see if this is gonna happen because according to a research done by a research company in Turkey, Metropol, 44% of Turks think that this Ayasofya subject has been opened by the government itself just to stop talking about the real problems such as the economic crisis.
Interesting, very interesting. On that topic, Ozan, so if you were to poll the whole of Turkey, and you would see that there's a good portion of people that wanted the conversion to happen, but if you were to poll specifically in Istanbul, the Istanbulites, they didn't want this change, right?
I honestly don't think even if the majority of Turks
Hmm.
really deeply demanded such thing from the government,
Hmm.
there was no such popular demand.
Hmm.
Among Islamists, there was this demand. And sometimes when you ask people something, they may say yes, but they didn't have such an agenda before the question itself, see? And this happened several times, I believe, in Turkey, with several referendums, several elections have been held earlier before than planned.
Because this
So
is the
they said
fourth
yes.
this is
Yeah.
the fourth Byzantine church. Well, Hagia Sophia specifically is a different case, but this is the fourth said situation where you had a piece of Orthodox history changed into a mosque. So
Mhm.
is this an attack by Erdogan specifically to reprimand Istanbul, because he lost support in Istanbul in the last election, right?
That's it.
And then
Yeah,
there was a
that's true.
referendum and he lost that again. So
Actually,
is he
yeah.
trying to take back control in Istanbul? What is he trying to do?
He's trying to get the support back of the country that he's losing, as I mentioned. Maybe not specifically Istanbul, but more like he's trying to find new ways to make a hero again out of himself.
Hmm.
Like he's trying to rewrite a history because AKP actually had a history. Like they always claimed that they were the true representatives of the conservatives, let's say, or the Muslims in Turkey, which was not exactly the true case because many Muslims in Turkey don't prefer to vote for them actually. So, but now what he's trying to do is to, as I mentioned, to make another story maybe, and to grab the attention of the people once again by recreating a history.
Okay. Okay, Ozan, that makes a lot of sense for me. Um, I just have a couple more questions. So I'm gonna show you the tweets that he tweeted
Yeah.
specifically after the change took place, because as I'm sure you know, just to tell the listeners and the viewers, there was international condemnation from the Orthodox Church, both in Russia and in Greece, from the U.S. Foreign Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, from the Pope, the Catholic Pope, from the Western world. There was a huge amount of pushback on this decision, but this response here that I'm going to show you in his tweet is very interesting, because you see in his Twitter in English, right? He says, President Erdogan, Hagia Sophia doors will be, as is the case with all of our mosques, wide open, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, Muslim or non-Muslim.
Mm.
Then you see his approach towards the quote unquote East and the Arab world and what he tweets in Arabic. And I'll translate this for you. إحياء آيا صوفيا من جديد هي بشارة نحو عودة حرية للمسجد الأقصى. This is saying the rejuvenation of Hagia Sophia is a prophecy towards the return of freedom, is a prophecy towards the liberation of the Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. So can you comment to that? Is he having a two-sided, two-fronted approach for his quote-unquote Muslim Arab followers, um, the Muslim world that he wants to make Turkey the center of, versus his approach towards the West?
Could you please?
How is he gonna balance these two approaches at the same time? I don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, the Islamist mind is works like that. So there, it is far from the nation state mindset. You know, it's when he looks at Turkey, maybe not, but I think the Islamists in general, when they look at Turkey and Turkish citizens, they what they consider as the real Turkish citizens is the Muslim ones, and the ones who really practice their religion. And this is not this is far away from a secular mindset of secular approach of or definition of nationality and citizenship actually. So by doing these kind of acts, Erdogan is showing once again actually his Islamist side. But other than that, he also knows that a big part of the society is satisfied once the leader shows himself as he is acting against the big powers of the country of the world.
Okay.
But this, I think, it only happens on a discourse level. Like of course, Turkey has been in fight since a while with many big powers, especially in the West. But what's important here, what's addressed to the people, is what he's saying, and the income that he has from that, the thing that he wins is the inside support, and this is his top priority. The Turkey's position in international relations and foreign politics, this comes later. This influences actually directly the inside politics too. But once he is able to keep his current position and strength, the rest comes later. Like for him, these are like second or third questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Ozan, thank you very much. This was very informative, and I bet our viewers will learn a lot about this transformation that happened.
Yeah.
And the importance.
I'd also like just a final thing maybe.
Yeah.
As I told you, in 34, this place, this Hagia Sophia, has been converted to a museum by
By
Ataturk and the founder of the republic. So this isn't only to win more support or to consolidate his strength maybe, but also it's another challenge against the
father of Turkey.
secular heritage of
Mm.
Kemalism in Turkey,
Yeah.
because it's not the first time that we see such an action from the part of the government. They also criticized several times even the adoption of um, Latin alphabets in Turkey, or the laicite, the secularism as a principle in constitution. That has been also criticized by AKP. So this is also another part of all these challenged against Kemalist revolutions, Republican revolutions. I think that part is quite important too, because now they're winning more and more, um, let's say, area zones in this fight against secular system. So next step that they will be doing, what that is gonna be, we don't know. We will see.
Yeah, very interesting that you mentioned that. And just to give our viewers one last little point of information, so Ataturk, Ata means father of Turks, and that
Yeah.
was a name that was given to Mustafa Kemal by the people of Turkey. They named him. They gave him the name of the father of Turkey, the modern Turkey, and Erdogan never refers to him by Ataturk, right? He always refers to him Mustafa Kemal or even Kemal.
Yeah, he calls him sometimes Ghazi as a a title
Mm-hmm.
of like war hero.
Never
But
Ataturk.
also he never challenges directly, like how to say, he never attacks directly to his personality either, because he knows that even among his supporters, Ataturk has a very important role.
The battle
It's
he
not
won.
only the founder. It's not only the founder of the republic, but it's also the savior of the country. So, right after the First World War. So, with these kind of steps against, more like not directly to his personality, but to his revolutions, the things he made, he's transforming the country with his party, and at the same time, he's still attacking by keeping himself in a safer spot, by not attacking directly to Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. Yeah.
Okay, Ozan, thank you very much. This was very informative, and I bet
I hope I was able to give some interesting info.
you were fantastic. Thank you very much, Ozan.
Thank you so much.